season, and I think they did a great job in the draft. But Wyatt is the real grade expert here. He is very lenient on his grades, but I feel he's going to draft him hard. But how the Chiefs do?
Chiefs did really good. Chiefs did a really good job. I thought it. Round one, they had 2 first-round picks. Round one, pick 21. They got Trent McDuffie, cornerback out of Washington. A could be possible sleeper candidate for the best cornerback in this draft. I'm not saying that he is. I think Sauce Gardner probably will be, but this is a sleeper pick for that. So they added to the defense, which has already in the past kind of been a little shaky at times. That's always been the knock for this Kansas City team, was their defense. Clearly, it wasn't the offense. But they add Trent McDuffie as well as George Karlaftis, edge out of Purdue. And Karlaftis is, I think, might be better than Trayvon Walker. I really do. I think that there's a shot that this guy ends up being better than the number 1 overall pick in this draft. And I think it's a real possibility. I don't even think it's like one of those things like, oh, well, things have to not work out, for Trayvon and they have to go perfectly for George Karlaftis. I don't even think it's that. I just think it's like he's on a better team. Karlaftis is on a better team with a better coaching staff, with a better team environment, with a better fan base, with a better everything. I mean, just everything around him is better. He's on a Super Bowl caliber team. So that right there gives him a huge push versus being in Jacksonville. So Karlaftis there to close out the first round. I absolutely loved their first rounds. I thought they had one of the best first rounds in the league. Starting off in the second round, they lost speed. They lost Cheetah, the number 1 speed guy in the league. So what did they do? They replaced him with the number 1 speed guy possibly in this draft in Sky Moore, wide receiver out of Western Michigan.
Facts, baby.
He is a slot wide receiver who is incredibly fast, can also help you in the return game, can be a deep threat, can run post routes really, really well. I mean, that's my favorite route that he does is the post, the way he cuts inside of the safeties and how fast he is. Really impressed with his movements. Also, Brian Cook, safety out of Cincinnati. The Cincinnati defense was an incredible, sleeper defense in college football last year. And this was just another key piece to that Bearcat defense. I mean, obviously, Ahmad Sauce Gardner was the best defensive player on that team, and he was the best DB on that team. But I thought Brian Cook was a very close second for best defensive player on that defense, possibly. So Brian Cook, safety out of Cincinnati there in the second round. Once again, loved the second round. Now we go on to the third. Leo Chenal, linebacker out of Wisconsin, another solid guy. He can come off the edge. He can play middle for you. So just a system guy who's a plug-and-play player. You can throw him anywhere. And then fourth round, Joshua Williams, cornerback, Fayetteville State. So just adding to the cornerback depth there and the rest of the picks pretty much just depth fillers as well. Darian Kennard, offensive guard out of Kentucky. A solid offensive lineman who in a couple of years could start. And then as we look down into round 7, they got 2 corners and a running back being Jalen Watson and Nazeeh Johnson are the 2 corners out of Washington State and Marshall, as well as Isaiah Pacheco, running back out of Rutgers. And he is obviously a good running back, runs the ball really well downhill. So for a 7th round pick, I was pretty impressed with what he does. So yeah, I thought they did a really good job, and their best pick for me was round 2, pick 54. Actually, no, I take that back. I'm going to change it last minute. I'm going to be boring. I'm going to go with their first round pick because this was their best pick. Round 1, pick 30, George Karlaftis, edge out of Purdue. I think he's a day 1 impact guy on any team in the NFL, and the Chiefs got a real steal with this guy. He should have been, in my opinion, I thought a top 15 prospect, but he just fell, and the Chiefs ended up snagging who could be one of the best players out of this draft. So really impressed with their picks. Karlaftis was their best pick, and their grade for me, Buck said earlier I was going to give him an A+. I am not going to give them an A+, but I'm going to give them an A. So there you go.
That is satisfactory. But let me tell you a little bit about Sky Moore, Wyatt. I have an inside source that played Sky Moore or played against Sky Moore in the MAC last season, and he went off for them for 6 touchdowns in that game. Isaac Hatfield said this is the fastest human being he has ever seen, ever. Now, that's saying something because you know your boy, Winkers, right? Pretty damn fast, right? He said He made Winkers look slow. Sky Moore is going to be a beast to reckon with. He is going to pick up Tyreek Hill just fine.
At this moment, he may be faster than Winkers, but give Wink some time.
Yeah.
Don't you worry.